Welcome back to Bits Be Trippin'. This is your host Carter. Let's get into this. Now, it's been a while since we've brought you an episode, and this is really due to community feedback that we've been starting to get related to doing just live streams. People have asked for a less than 10-minute video, and for that group, we're going to try some quick, to the point, and tailored content, much like we used to do. Now, no fear to those that find the live streams very valuable. We will continue to produce those and bring you the content as fast as possible to the community. As most know that follow us, BBT tries to bring you a real, no BS review, tests and results in real time, giving you the unfiltered view on hardware and the actual results. This was the case with the new Threadripper build, and along with lots of deep dive live streams on both the Vega 56 and Vega 64 shortly after the release. Okay, enough with the quick overview on the channel. As I always say, let's get into this. This episode, we're going to cover the Manli P106-090 3GB mining card and the general settings that we found to be the most efficient with these cards specifically. Looking at the datasheet, the chipset name, the P106-090, defines the series of the mining card. Most notably, the P106-100 has been the most commonly discussed version in the general mining scene when we're talking about nVidia mining cards, both being based on the GTX 1060 core. The P106-90 comes with 640 CUDA cores. Comes with memory configurations with both 3 and 6 gig. We have the 3 gig version. Locking in 192-bit memory interface and a base boost core clock of 1354 and 1531 respectively. The cooling is handled by a copper core, shrouded in aluminum heatsink, and actively cooled by a twin fan design. Reviewing GPU-Z here, we see the model and the memory type confirming the rock-solid choice of DDR5R and the lucky Samsung memory, most notably not showing any other details, most likely due to the card being set into TCC mode. Now, our build here was a pretty typical BBT build boasting the following hardware: a custom open frame 12 card design, however 8 cards only used in this test, with the dimensions of 28 by 17 by 12.5. For our friends in the rest of the world, that's approximately 71 centimeter by 43 centimeters by 31.75 centimeters. An ASRock H110 Pro BTC motherboard, the 13 card motherboard, 8 gigs of DDR4 supplied by a Corsair Ballistics Elite, and an Intel i3 7100. Now, just to be clear, you don't need an i3 and 8 gigs of memory. An Intel G4400 Pentium and 4 gigs of memory would work fine for this same build. This is effectively what we had available at the time of the shooting of this. Other components included an EVGA Supernova P2, 1200 watt power supply, and 8 of the 1x16x 6-pin SATA-powered risers, version 006C. Glass we used a Samsung 120 gig solid state to load Windows Professional and run the mining software on. Now, anyone that has followed us and watched the live stream a few weeks ago noticed that we were forced to use Windows, as all commercially available prepackaged mining OSs in the Linux flavor did not support the P106-90 at the time. This is the latest version at press time for Simple Mining, EthOS, and PimpOS, all not supporting these cards as of yet. So going back to the Windows configuration and setup on these mining cards, out of the gate during the live stream, we had to track down a driver that would actually work with these, as all nVidia released versions publicly on their site did not find nor showed compatibility with these cards. On Manli's site, you can download the driver. At the press time was version 385.41. Additionally, you would need to download the Turbo Engine tool produced by Manli. After the install, you see all the cards start to fall into place within the device manager. A process takes about 5 to 8 minutes, and then they'll be actively ready to mine. Once rebooted, you can fire up the Turbo Engine tool. Going through some of the options, the settings allows you to configure what you want to launch, such as startup items, and overclock on startup. Much like Afterburner, gives you the same basics on all the cards. But the main part of the tool that you want is the Advanced tab. This gives you modification access to the core clock and memory. Now, you're wondering why we're not using Afterburner. It's because these cards shipped with TCC mode enabled, which disables a few things, including Afterburner's ability to make changes. Now, going in and looking what the base performance of these cards are without changing anything, you see out of the box performance of about 20.56 megahash on Ubik. Now, being NVIDIA, the DAG degradation can happen with AMD cards, is not affected by the DAG size, so the ETH performance is near the same out of the box too. Just a sidebar note, using the blockchain driver for the AMD cards fixes the DAG size performance issue. The base power usage for 8 cards sits just over 660 watts from the wall, full system. The base idle power usage on this particular rig is right around 55 watts, so that's about 615 watts for 8 cards. Now, after the last few weeks and trying multiple configurations, the best performance we've seen out of the setup was using a plus 70 to core and plus 780 on memory. While on the live stream, we did achieve nearly a 200 core and an 830 memory setting, pushing the cards just over 24 megahash. Much better stability was found at 70 core and 780 memory. This locked the cards in at a solid 22.3 to 23 megahash and was still only 670 watts. The bigger story here though is the heat, or better, their lack of. Typically, when overclocking core and memory to the levels that we are seeing with these cards that do not have an additional passive cooling backplate, the temperatures would hover over 70 Celsius. These cards, compared to most all GTX 1060 classic cards that we've tested, when reviewing 8 of them, are using anywhere from 80 to 110 less watts of power and holding below 60 Celsius with low fan speed and no external cooling support such as a box fan. That ultimately is the big takeaway here on the mining cards, in general compared to the full retail gaming graphics card variant. The industry, at least on this series, went to reduce both power and heat while maintaining near equal performance output on megahash with less power usage. Now, of course, we tried a few more currencies than just Ubik and Ethereum, like Zcash. However, it did not perform very well compared to a typical 1060. We figure this is mainly due to the hard cap and power fixed at 75 TDP. This held the card to a mid-160s solutions per second performance and kept the power with usages seen in around the mining of Ethereum. Typically, Zcash pulls a little more power since it's using GPU. Trying out Feathercoin, it showed a little reduction of power down to 630 watts and generated about 2.3 megahash on its algorithm NeoScript. The final exercise we found ourselves doing was trying the card out of WDDM mode, Windows Device Driver mode, to see if there was any change by using Afterburner versus the supplied Manli tool. What we found is we could actually do the change by opening the command prompt in administrative mode, navigating to the nVidia NVSMI tool, querying the devices to back up the assumption that they were running in TCC mode, as we've seen here, switching them using the command nVidia-SMI space dash DM space 0, which changed the state to WDDM and gave us access to Afterburner features after a reboot. The results were exactly the same. The main function we wanted to try out of this ability was to snap the card out of the 75 TDP limit and see if we could get it near 25 megahash. However, we couldn't. It's still not very bad considering the power and heat savings though. In closing, the next logical big question is, where can you get these from? No major US vendors from our search have any. They can only be picked up right now between AliExpress and Alibaba and based in volume. However, if there's a will, there's a way, and if the cost and output makes sense, there's a decent market potential for them. The pricing currently is sitting around the mid 250s to 260 per card in an area that does not make much sense right now today. Existing 1060s, assuming you can get the ones with Samsung memory, put you dangerously close to the same power output with a little more heat, however, have an advantage being able to be resold for other purposes than mining. These cards can only really truly be used as a mining task and possibly a render farm activity if you keep them in TCC mode, i.e. Tesla CUDA cluster mode. This is mainly due because they have no I/O. They are truly a proverbial daughter card. While we could imagine a world where you could have a normal gaming card and use this as a secondary card if just buying one and leverage the mining while you go about your daily business, allowing you to hedge and be part of the mining activity for 24/7, living it as a secondary mining card. Maybe someday. Now, hopefully you found this video informative, and if you have the opportunity to pick up these at a decent price, maybe it gives you a better baseline to play with. This video is not a paid endorsement of Manli or any of the mining card producers. Thanks for tuning in. All the links and descriptions of the associated links are in the description below. In closing, do not forget to like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter and on Steemit, and check out our new website at bitsbetrippin.com, where you can access resources such as direct access to our Discord, which is a web-based chat that has well over 500 plus members and growing each day. Folks in there are always talking solutions, sharing ideas, giving you pointers on rigs, and helping to answer many questions. We have built one of the best mining communities on the internet and around the crypto scenes, with lots of individual contributors adding to the content within the Discord reference section. This has been your host, Carter. Stay tuned.